You okay? Hey, pal. I said to Jonah before we started, I said, hey, look, man, it's a Martin Scorsese movie, man.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna slap you.
Well, we were doing this scene where it's really heavy scene where I get punched in the face and it wasn't looking quite real.
I said, just let me slap you, and as soon as the scene's over, slap me back off camera. You can smack the shit out of me.
You dress like shit.
And you know, Jonah, he just it wasn't something he was totally into at the time.
If Martin Scorsese asked me to do anything for this character, I would have done it, and I pretty much do.
And Jonah, you know, he was brave, man. He said, okay, you know, this is gonna be the real punch, everybody. And I want everyone to be ready. You know, they were ready with like an ice pack and shit like that.
Scorsese asked if I would take one in the face for real, and I did.
Fuck you, mother. Oh, Jesus! How about that? Who's a
You showed me a pay stub for $72,000 and I quit my job right now and I work for you.
I was gonna audition with Martin Scorsese, and that was the audition scene.
So I had been preparing for this scene forever. We shot the Donnie's intro scene, and Scorsese's happy, which means I'm happy, and so he's like, let's move on. I'm like, okay, great, huge relief off. Then we have to shoot the scene that's not even really scripted, it's just literally like, I quit.
Hey, listen, I quit.
Now the next scene should have taken an hour to shoot because it's a really small scene.
I start doing it, and we do it again, we do it again, we do it again. We end up doing it like 20 times. Then his assistant comes up to me and goes, are you okay?
And so I start getting really, really nervous.
And he's like, kid, come here, come sit with me. And we go to the monitors and we sit. After like 5 or 7 minutes of sitting in silence with him, I just like start to naturally relax.
We sit for 20 minutes and then he goes, all right, let's try one. And we did it like once, and that was that. He doesn't understand that it's acting, so he beats the crap out of you for 7 months when the scene calls for it.
Basically, Leo plays really rough, and he's way bigger than I am, so I couldn't physically retaliate. So I had to figure out a way to get back at him with my brain. So I was like, I gotta get him back. I gotta get him back. And in the sushi scene, the line was written as,
you can eat that last piece of yellowtail, bud.
in the script, it was supposed to be that I was supposed to eat the last piece of sushi. The first take, he goes, take that last piece of yellowtail, and I go, no, buddy, you have it. And he eats it.
It's all yours.
So he had to eat yellowtail. Now we do that scene probably 100 times over the course of the night. And he's had to eat 100 pieces of yellowtail. And by the end of the night, he was throwing up into a trash bin, and everyone was like, Leo, are you okay? Are you okay? And the only two people on the floor laughing hysterically were myself and Martin Scorsese.
That's hilarious.
And it was one of the better moments of the whole shoot.
That's
just because I got to get my friend back.
This is what you do! Hey, everybody!
We tried to make this as real as possible, as sick as that is. And they said, what do you want to do with the goldfish? And I said, well, I'd like to eat a goldfish because that's what the guy actually did. He came back to me and he said, well, you know, PETA is not going to let you eat a goldfish. We tried and they're not going to let you do it. And this
said no, yeah.
They said, no way, Jose. This is a carnival goldfish, by the way. It probably would have died 4 hours later of natural causes on its own without me eating it. We have to figure something out. And so the next day they show up and there's 3 adult human beings escorting a goldfish around all day.
This is what happens when you with your pets on New Issue Day.
And I get there and they go, listen, like real stern with me, you can keep this guy in your mouth for 3 seconds and then you gotta spit him back in the water. So the first take I put it in my mouth and it immediately goes to the bathroom in my mouth.
Oh! New Issue Day!
These little bastards were so strong, I discovered a whole new phase.
And I read, and I don't know if it's true, that you got an expert to come on the set and instruct Leo about how one behaves when one has had too many Quaaludes. Is that correct?
Yes, we did. Both Leo and I had never taken a Quaalude before, but we needed to understand what the effects were, how you would physically move your body if you were on them. You know, Donnie's addicted to a variety of different drugs, and she kind of walked me through what the effects were of each one on your body and how you would react.
We really worked really hard on this Quaalude sequence where essentially Donnie has a botched money deal, who's played by Jonah Hill, and to apologize for that, he gives me these incredibly powerful Quaaludes.
So basically, I thought of it as there was like a little version of me inside of me having to lift my entire body around. So each movement is like moving dead weight around.
The biggest thing that surprises you at the end is that these guys are still alive.
Straight to the drool phase.
Baby, you know, you got real anger issues.
I was like, that was the dumbest thing you've ever done. You're going to jail now. I just finished my audition and I thought I'd blown it.
In the audition scene, we did the scene where she wakes him up.
Wake up, you piece of shit. Ow! Who's Venice?
And she came in and just...
She knocked it out.
She really did.
I'd done my audition the week before with them And we're improvising, and I got a bit caught up in the moment, and it wasn't scripted, but you know, I was screaming at him, and then I hit him in the face.
What are you, f***ing out?
And then, of course, as soon as I'd done that, I was swiftly taken out of the scene and thought, oh my gosh, what have you just done? It was like silent, and I was like, what's up? And they go, we left her.
God damn it!
You want me to rat? Is that it?
No, I want you to cooperate.
There's a scene towards the end where he slides me a note that says he's wearing a wire.
It's a scene where we're eating sushi, which is my favorite scene I've ever been a part of.
Do you ever get back to you about that account?
Jordan at that time was very morally twisted, obviously.
So much is happening emotionally that you want to say, but because he's wearing a wire, you can't say it.
The moment Donnie reads that and he takes that in, he realizes it's the end of everything.
Take back 4 or 5 moves.
It's basically the end of our friendship. It's the end of everything. It's the end of everything we built, our lifestyle.
And who knows what Jordan's told them about me already.
And because he's wearing a wire, we have to have this conversation about something that's completely not what we're feeling.
That's fucked up, Jordan. I don't know.
So you can't say the words that you actually feel, and you have to express everything, all the sadness and pain, without using any words to verify them.
And that was a really challenging and my favorite scene I've ever been a part of.
What does that mean?
Yeah, but what? Married people can't have friends?
Ironically enough, I just flat out lied to my family for a really long time. And I said, I don't care what you do, there is no nudity, I'm not doing any nudity. At the time, I thought, no one's going to notice me in this film. It kind of doesn't matter what I do in this film, because everyone's going to be focused on Leo. The lie evolved to, well, actually, it's a body double, and they just CGI'd my head.
You want to be my friend?
We're not going to be friends. My mum saw it, she came to the premiere, so I was sitting next to her. I didn't really think it through, and suddenly I was like sitting there, and I was like, oh my God, like my brother's there. This is going to be so weird. You want to come up for some tea or something? I actually tried to cover her eyes when the nude bits happened. But she pushed my hand away. And after the screening, it was cool with like most family members, but my older brother Lachlan, afterwards we kind of like had like the world's most awkward conversation.
Oh my God!
It was like an 18-hour day in this enclosed airplane set. There's a guy's balls like 3 centimeters away from you.
This stuff really happened.
That also is true for the people who come in to get buck-ass naked and simulate sex in the orgy scene.
There were giant orgy sequences on 747s, and this is all reflective of the real man's life. It was kind of disgusting sometimes, these sequences.
If Martin Scorsese asked me to do anything for this character, I would have done it, and I pretty much do.
I did a lot of bad shit. I'm going to hell, Jordan!
The only word I could use to describe it is unhygienic. That's the only thing I can think of. And it was crazy and fun. I was just like, I needed to Purell like my whole body.
It was just about everyone taking on this hedonistic attitude and giving into every temptation possible.
Daddy shouldn't waste his time. After being on the Wolf set, you get desensitized to things like nudity. We sat down and spoke about it a little bit to begin with, particularly the more racier scenes.
That's it, you're leaving. Don't get involved. Go home to your wife.
I walked into the meeting thinking that I was going to have to really fight to keep my clothes on, and by the end of it, I was like, no, I think she wouldn't do that. She wouldn't be having underwear on then. She wouldn't do that. For at least 3 days before that, I ate like a rabbit, and then I panicked the night before and I ate an entire apple pie. Once you're on set, it's a very professional atmosphere and everyone's trying to make it comfortable for you, but not make a big deal out of it. I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I had a couple of shots of tequila before that scene because I was very nervous. They like glistened me up with like baby oil, and so I ended up, like, my stomach looked fantastic, so I didn't care. I was like, whatever.
Daddy's really sorry about what he said in the other room. He didn't mean any of it.
My lawyer said that you're going to prison for 20 years, Jordan. I went to go do the audition tape, and my acting coach was like, you got to do a Brooklyn accent.
My acting coach back in LA, Nancy Banks, said, pretend you have acrylic nails and they've just been put on and they've painted them and they're still wet.
And I was like, okay, cool, so how do I do the accent? And she was like, just do it. And I was like, okay. And suddenly I'm doing all these hand gestures, and then that's where the accent started. I'm getting my hair out of my face like this, and you know, I was talking to her, and I wasn't talking to you. It's actually easier to do coming from an Australian accent than doing a standard American accent because, you know, there are no R's. For me, the R's, the hard R's, like car instead of car, that's like half the work is gone.
I can't explain it, it just works.
Blue look at yourself. You know what my lawyer said?
You have like a twinkle. Did you try and kiss me, bro?
I was on a list of people that were going to get to meet with Mr. Scorsese for the part.
The only problem with this one is everyone else more famous than me wanted to play him as well.
Then Leo and I were in Mexico promoting different films, and I asked if I could meet with him because he was the producer.
He had read the screenplay, and you know what you look for with anyone is a firm commitment that they are that character.
We sat down and I immediately just launched into who I thought Donnie was and told him I have to play this character. I just begged him and said, look, man, you know, I really feel like I can do this with you.
Immediately called Marty and said, there's an actor out there that really feels like they're the person for the job, but I think Marty met him a week later.
I asked if I could audition for him as opposed to meet with him.
He wanted to audition.
Yeah.
He read a scene.
He wanted to audition.
Yeah, but I didn't pay attention to the audition. It's just him.
Yeah.
And then I'm at dinner in New Orleans, and I get a phone call, and it's Leo, and he says, you got it, let's go do it.
Like a twinkle.
Your only responsibility is to put meat on the table.
It was written that he tells Leonardo's character the secret to this.
Cocaine and hookers, my friend.
And I remember going, who's this guy?
He's the messenger that is bringing me into the depths of hell.
You gotta stay relaxed.
Sometimes you get a line in the script that just, the imagination just soars.
Matthew came up to us and said, I have an idea for this scene, and he brilliantly came up with this sort of rewritten monologue.
They're in a 5-star restaurant. He pulls out a bump of coke, takes it. Cocaine. Orders martinis until they drop. You're gonna bring us 2 absolute martinis. Then says, hey, young man, how many times a week you jack off? I jerk off at least twice a day. And also, let me tell you this, the secret of this business is hookers and cocaine.
Martin Scorsese loves fun.
The last few takes, he and I didn't even really speak that much English. He was just doing sounds, and he loved the non-verbal things that I was doing.
Bang, bang, bang.
He just let me go, and I just went off and did what you see in the movie.
The clients.
I got 5 more just like you, bro.
So one of the characters in the book had really big fake veneers. I had to learn how to re-talk because I had such a horrible lisp when I put them on. Our acting and dialect coach is like, you gotta talk with these in your mouth for like an hour and a half every day. So I just spent a month and a half wearing them all day.
I put the money on that fucking table, not you.
I needed someone who would talk to me in character.
If I go somewhere and I'm working on the accent and the voice, I can't go there and physically try it out on people because some people will recognize me and I'll look ridiculous.
You dress like shit, so fuck you.
I would call Best Buy all the time and just talk to people at Best Buy.
And I would just start asking them about all the different appliances and talk on the phone.
So I would just call Best Buys and talk about different products with people until I was rid of my lisp. I hope someone from Best Buy watches the film and is like, holy shit, you know, like I've talked to that guy a lot on the phone.
Now that I got nominated for an Oscar to play Donnie, I gotta give a shout out to all the Best Buy employees.
Yeah, there you go, thank you.
What? You fucking pill dealer.
Mr. Jordan Belfort.
Jordan Belfort, the real Jordan Belfort. Leonardo and I would have dinner with him all the time, and he was an open book to us.
He was intricately a part of creating this character with me. He was incredibly candid and always forthright and always honest. I got to research the real man and spend a lot of time with him. A lot of times we'd be talking about specific scenes, and he would say it was like that, but actually it was 10 times worse, and I'm going to tell you why.
2 nights before shooting, I asked Jordan, I said, do you feel bad about what you did to these people? He just said he kind of didn't think about it at that time, and then now if he could go back, he would have, if he could do the same thing without hurting those people, he obviously would have. He's like, Jonah, your character liked the fact that he was hurting people. And that was intense for me, and that helped me understand what I was about to go do.
And the world's greatest sales trainer,